What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I am weirdly excited about the news that a new Digimon trading card game is coming out. Now, I stumbled across this in the Chrono Clash Facebook group earlier. All will become clear on that in a moment. And I've spent the day having a bit of a dig around. It's not the easiest thing to find information for. We've been using Google Translate, looking at a couple of Japanese websites. There was a Facebook group that helped out a little bit. It's been kind of fun doing the research. Though I suppose we do need to get something off the bat right away. It's only been announced for Japan. As it stands at the moment, I have found no information whatsoever about this being a thing outside of Japan or in any other countries. Which on the one hand is a little bit sad, but on the other hand it's made by Bandai, who make the Dragon Ball Super card game, which is out over here, and they make that Chrono Clash thing I just told you about, which is out over here. So I don't really see any reason why they wouldn't, unless they thought it really wasn't going to be popular or make any money, and why would it not make money? So I'm cautiously optimistic. Now, if you want to try and make sure it does come out over here, what you need to do is send an email to Bandai. If I can find the email address, I will pop it in the description, and we can all try and get this made together. The one thing I can do is give you all the information I have been able to glean about this card game, and we can take it from there. Now, there are a couple concrete facts we do know. One of them is that it is going to be released on the 1st of April 2020. I know that is April Fool's Day. I know that the idea of a game which we weren't expecting coming out on April Fool's Day sounds weird. It's true. It's coming out on the 1st of April 2020. We also know that on the 1st of April, what we're actually getting is free starter decks. As it stands at the moment, there aren't any booster boxes. What we are getting is free starter decks, each of which is going to cost 500 yen. Now, at today's prices, and things fluctuate here and there, but at today's prices, 500 yen comes in at a whopping $4.55, £3.49, €4.11, $6 Australian 65, or $5.95 in Canadian dollars. That is to say, very, very cheap. This is a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very good thing. It doesn't tell us how many cards are going to be in a starter deck. It doesn't tell us if we're going to get booster boxes following along later. This might be a test. By which I mean this might just be a way of Bandai going, you know what? Let's see how it goes. Let's try and figure out how much people are actually into this before we go all out and actually launch the game properly. One would imagine that if the game does go well, that if these sell well, that we can look forward to more of this in the future, more starter decks and booster boxes, etc. As it stands at the moment, we're just getting these free starter decks. Now, according to Digimon Project Digital Monster over on Facebook, they have gone and translated something from The Jump magazine, and we've got a little bit of a description about each of the free starter decks coming out. The yellow starter deck is featuring Patamon. All the Digimon have Mon as the end of their name, apparently, and gives you the ability to control the field. Yellow is assigned to the types Holy Beast, Fairy, and Angel. Many of your cards have the effect of reducing the opponent's DP. Red is Agumon, a super aggressive fight style. Red is mainly assigned to Dragon and Dragon types. By increasing their DP, which is attack power, they have the power to oppress opponents. And blue is Gabumon, emphasis on development. Blue is assigned to the beast types, Beast Man and Knight. They control the field by nullifying the opponent's cards. Oh. Now, what is super, super interesting here, and this is how it ended up in the Chrono Clash group, this image on the official website, DigimonCard.com, it's clearly the Chrono Clash gauge. Like, it's really obviously the Chrono Clash gauge. And if you have a look at it with Google Translate, it basically says as much. Now, this is, as far as I'm concerned, the best mechanic that came out of Chrono Clash. Now, there were two things about Chrono Clash that made things super interesting. One was the fact that it was a language-free game, everything was done with symbols, although I will be honest, over time, there was a part of me that wished it was slightly less, I suppose slightly less rigid, and gave us a bit more chance to play around a little bit. But also, the Chrono Clash gauge, and that was my favourite thing about the game, and you know I've covered this game a little bit on the channel. Now, what the Chrono Clash gauge basically is a shared gauge for both players to use to pay-to-play cards. So, when you play a card, every card has got a cost, and that will decrease the gauge closer to zero. And you can play as many cards as you like during your turn until you hit zero. And the second you hit zero, or really one, it goes to your opponent's turn. So you really have this back and forth of, I can play this really expensive 6-cost card, but that's going to leave my opponent with 5 time, essentially, or 5 resource. Whereas if I play this 2-cost card, it's going to leave my opponent with 1 resource, which seems a little bit better, because now my opponent's not going to be able to do as much on their turn. That's the back and forth. That is my favourite thing about Chrono Clash, and it seems to be coming into the game. Now, if anybody's wondering, well, hang on a second, how can they just use the Chrono Clash gauge? Even if there was an issue, Chrono Clash is made by Bandai. The Digimon card game is made by Bandai, which means there really is no issue here. We can just go along nicely and use it. Now, there is also some element of an evolution mechanic going on in this game. Now, I am not a Digimon expert, although could be convinced, but you can clearly see from this image here, and again, it basically says this in the Japanese text around it, that what we essentially have here is that you evolve a card, but it keeps it from the old card. So you see there, the evolution card has gone on the old card, but the text of the old card is preserved at the bottom there. I believe this means that when you essentially evolve a card, you keep the abilities of the card underneath it. Not 100% on that, but that seems to be the way we're working here, which it's a mechanic we've seen in Pokemon before, and it's one that very much piques my interest. And we did have a little bit of artwork shown off without the cards, but you can see there that this artwork matches this card rather perfectly. So these are artworks you're going to see on the cards in the starter decks. We don't have a huge amount of information about this game at the moment, but it does look very, very fun. Now, for those of you that don't actually know, Digimon came around in 1997, and they actually launched as virtual pets, like Tamagotchi. That's what they were initially. That's what Digimon launched as. And to use a phrase I'm quite fond of, it snowballed from there. We've had video games, anime, you name it. There has been a trading card game in the past. I don't remember it being terribly successful, and it certainly isn't going around nowadays, but it's not the first time we've had one. I have been left today with a whole bunch of questions. I honestly don't know what's going on here. I don't know if this is just free starter decks as a test. I don't know if this is what's been announced, but there's a booster box that they're making and is going to be announced soon. I don't know if this is going to be Japan only or is going to be launched around the world. I really don't know what the plan is here. The only things we know for certain are that these are launching on the 1st of April. They are costing 500 yen, although I've also seen 550 yen, so let's call it 500 yen for now. And that's about it. There are 3 of them. But I'm excited to know more. You guys know I'm a man who likes getting into new card games. I like being in on card games at the beginning. I've made no secret of that. You have my word that if this launches outside of Japan, I will be here covering it. I will be picking up these decks and learning how to play it and bringing you everything you need to know about the game. At least initially, till we see what your interest is like. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a little bit excited. And I would be rather excited to know how excited you are. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's where we talk, well, probably Digimon to be honest in the near future. And a whole bunch of other stuff. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching Wossy Plays.